You want to get an idea of Justin Sun's version of genius? Well, he's using these layoffs as a way to promote having employees who are probably disgruntled here sending their resumes over to Tron, which is not only a genius way of incorporating some probably very valuable minds, but it also represents how he has a way of valuing originality. And I think that the fact that Justin Sun has this sort of respect for the modern celebrity and how information gets across, it's something I look for in somebody who's at such a critical position in terms of making these valid determinations as far as where things are going forward. So Justin Sun explains how Tron TRX is working to make sustainable cryptocurrency and sustainability, sort of music to my ears kind of stuff. So in this video we're going to be talking about how Tron's going to be tying into a lot of these different variables on a real international scale. I know a lot of the videos that we usually make around Tron mostly focus on very specific things going on in the world of cryptocurrency, but today I want to really step back and take more of a bigger picture look as to where we can be expecting Tron to be going, and I think that this is a well requested video as well, and I think that it goes without saying that we're going to be expecting to see this sort of model of communication with the marketplace of ideas that Justin Sun has demonstrated for us, and a lot of like-minded celebrities often have been catching on to the way that information actually travels in the modern day. And I think that this is going to be an exciting topic of discussion, and it's going to tie into a lot of variables that a lot of other cryptocurrency commentators often fail to comment on, and I think that this is going to be a very interesting video, so stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of interesting stuff. Ton of things to talk about on so many different levels. When you're interested in global events, there's really never a dull day, but the fact of the matter is the Dow getting absolutely destroyed recently, very interesting. I'm saying, obviously I'm not one to come out here and try and talk about economics on a broader scale. My area of what you might call expertise, for lack of a better word, would be in the cryptocurrency sector. Of course, that's where my interests primarily lie, but the fact of the matter is that one must pay attention to a multitude of these different variables because they're all connected at the hip. And does recession, does that mean good or bad for cryptocurrency? Well, I think that that's something interesting to pay attention to as well. Does the United States USD weakening, does that mean good or bad for cryptocurrency? I mean, it is interesting. But the fact of the matter is, in this video, we're going to be talking about a multitude of these different variables, up to and including the recent influx of value that we've seen getting pumped in, almost tens of billions of dollars a day almost getting added to the cryptocurrency space. Now, obviously, this is just retracing our steps and trying to get back to crawl into a position similar to where we were only recently, but it has been a very interesting and kingdoms rising and falling in the cryptocurrency, not only in the cryptocurrency space, but also in the stock market, of course, with its recent all-time highs followed by cataclysmic lows. And of course, now we're seeing all these different, because you have to understand how all these things are intrinsically connected to politics, the government shutdown, all these different things are, you can't look at one thing without ultimately being led to a similar page. So I think that this video has been a long time coming. I want to highlight a lot of the really critical variables that are going to be dramatically affected by this new chain of events that's continuing. So the fact of the matter is, the world debt clock keeps on turning. I know it's sort of become sort of a meme or a running joke on this channel. We always talk about the fact that 164 trillion or something like that. But are we ever going to pay that off? What's going to happen? My money is on the ladder. The fact of the matter is that these things, it's a house of cards. It's just no pun intended. The fact of the matter is, the world debt keeps on clicking, and this, I think, is the greatest, if not the greatest, basic perfect advertisement for the fundamental shift in the paradigm that cryptocurrency represents. So when we talk about the old paradigm, all these different fiat currencies, I mean, it's almost sort of a moot point when you consider what's waiting around the corner. But the fact of the matter is that it's like a wildfire. You know, you need to have the entire forest burned down in order for the new one to rise up from the ashes. So I mean, obviously, I'm sure I'm very sympathetic to the people who are getting hurt by, you know, the stock market and all these different things happening. But the fundamental fact of the matter is, it is a great advertisement for cryptocurrency. So I think that Tron definitely stands to benefit as far as this paradigm shift as it's moving forward. Basically, when you look at where Justin Sun is planning on taking his technology and how they've already established themselves, I think that it's genius in terms of a lot of these different critical aspects that are culminating at this present time. Now, when we look at what Tron actually aims to do and the progress that they've subsequently achieved thus so far, I think that it goes without saying that when we actually do see this boiling point coming to its full fruition, I think that technologies that have already established themselves in the way, now Tron being a good example of this, I mean, it's definitely interesting to see how the world is going to respond, and I think that there's going to be a lot of people who are caught off guard when the things that we've been talking about pretty much every single day on this channel and on like-minded channels like other cryptocurrency commentators seem to be aware that the clock is ticking, and the fundamental fact of the matter is that the world switching over to cryptocurrency, it's not going to be sunshine and flowers when all this stuff happens. It's going to be scary for a lot of people, and at the same time, you know, it's going to be equally as exciting for people who have managed to prepare themselves. I'm sure that there's plenty of different you know, old proverbs and sayings that talk about the people who, you know, the old one about the cricket and the grasshopper. You know, one of them's preparing for the winter and the other one's just having fun, basking in the sun. I think that that's certainly an interesting metaphor that definitely applies to people who are playing the stock game versus people who are playing the cryptocurrency game. Now, when it comes down to where Tron stands and all this, I think that it's definitely something that we need to talk about. Days like today are basically what cryptocurrency is all about. I mean, I'm sure that there's people out here who are thinking about their mentality when they were seeing the $3,900 Bitcoin, and it's interesting to see when the gates get closed and the opportunity is no longer there. I mean, the fact of the matter is that perhaps we'll never actually be able to see the $35 Litecoin ever again in our lifetime. And when the final bull run actually happens, and I'm talking about the bull run to end all bull runs, we'll probably be seeing the prices of these technologies going up closer to what we were seeing back when we were witnessing Bitcoin at its all-time highs. Now, whether or not this is going to be the marker of the upward tick of the cryptocurrency age before us, that's all to be said. Whether or not we're actually going to see Bitcoin rise or demise towards the end of 2018, I think that the damage has been done in regards to the reputation revolving around cryptocurrency, and it's pretty safe to say that we could pretty much see Bitcoin go from $4,000 to $7,000 within that range without really getting too much attention from the normies who would probably be apt to hop on board when things are getting to be a bit too late. We saw a similar situation happening when we were witnessing the critical juncture that was manifesting itself only recently. 365 days is not a long period of time, in particular when we're talking about something that's so crucial to the forward momentum of the advancements that are happening with society. When we talk about things going online, the digitalization of currencies, the basically everything becoming intangible, it's pretty funny to see, and I'm sure that there's people out there who are feeling the sting right now who decided to sell for a loss at the end of 2018, or whether or not people are still debating on that concept. It is an interesting indication of where the mentality of the cryptocurrency consumer has been developing, and I'm as much a connoisseur of the mentality that the people who are interested in crypto have as much as as I'm a connoisseur of paying attention to the technologies themselves and looking at the team. And I think that both are interestingly connected at the hip, in particular when we're seeing a lot of these different things making their headway as far as the overall advancement of crypto continues to move forward. And I'm very, very confident in the predictions that I've made as far as the long term when we talk about the various implications that cryptocurrency actually has in terms of being the next generation and being the marker of a really critical thing in society that's going to be implemented, whether people like it or not. They're going to be interacting with the cryptocurrency world, whether they like it or not. Sooner or later, all these different establishments are making their move. We've seen it before, and we'll see it again, and we'll see it continue. So this is essentially why I'm very much interested in projects like Tron. When you consider that the video game industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and with people spending more and more of their time glued to their televisions, you talk about the fact that television addiction is probably at its height right now, and it'll only continue to get more and more people consuming these digital things and using their time operating their devices. Whether or not this is a good thing or a bad thing for humanity, that's all left up to the philosophers to make that determination. For me, I think that it's very interesting things in terms of the market. The fact of the matter is that as time continues to move forward, we're going to be seeing more people delegating a lot of their time into using these different devices and operating with their different social media platforms and so forth, which is why the different things that Tron actually aims to do in terms of its advancement with utilizing and leveraging cryptocurrency in terms of moving forward, definitely a very interesting marker of a present day paradigm shift in the making. Now, whether or not we're going to be seeing that paradigm shift, obviously we have seen a huge drama unfolding in just the cryptocurrency market cap when you look at this sort of thing. But it certainly does blow my mind that somebody could acquire an entire Bitcoin for $4,200. And there's people who aren't doing that, who last year might have actually been buying a portion of a Bitcoin for that amount and wishing that they could afford an entire Bitcoin for $20,000. And it's a very interesting indication of the way that the consumer psychology is actually acting in this space when you see something like this, because people tend to only want to get involved when it's booming, and realistically the only opportunities exist when it's not booming. I mean, this is pretty common first grader type stuff, but that's also why I'm delegating this sort of rant to the end of the video. But still, for those of you who are interested in this kind of thing, it's really a monumental historical event right now that we're witnessing happening, because we have to take into consideration the fact that mathematically speaking, there will be a point in time when all of the Bitcoin will be taken up. There'll always be that certainty in the future. The fact of the matter is that eventually we're going to witness the eclipse of this fundamental opportunity, and that's why they refer to Bitcoin as digital gold. I mean, if gold was available for everybody to get one day, how many people would actually get it? The fact of the matter is that these intangible things are realistically most valued when they're hard to get. So I think that it's interesting also to point out a lot of these, they're interesting headlines, but I think that it's also interesting how they often contradict each other. And it really kind of does pull back the veil and give us an idea of the type of bullshit that's spun by a lot of these, in our headline culture. So, significant chance that crypto will outperform everything in 2019. Let's hope so, for God's sakes. Let's give cryptocurrency its day in the sun. Justin's son, no pun intended, but obviously, it's interesting to see how all these different things are. Obviously, Binance is going to be playing a critical variable in the 2019 future that lies ahead. But I think that it's also interesting, to pay attention to how there's always going to be these news lines that are all doom and gloom, trying to convince people that crypto is in for a decline. But then again, it's not like the stock market's doing any better. future. So if you want to get my interesting opinion, well, my honest opinion, whether or not you think it's interesting, that's your opinion. But yeah, I think the future is decentralized, and I'm going to say it again and again until it finally sinks in. Decentralized, people. And the fact of the matter is that Facebook is getting hit left and right with their problems regarding their storage of data, their issues of centralization, which is something that's a dirty word in my mouth. It's centralized is no good as far as the future age of the internet. The fact of the matter is that more people have computing power in their back pocket capable of taking down any centralized, or the fact of the matter is that decentralization is the only way social media is going to survive. And I think Tron's aware of this. I think that they're aware that the public is going to have to either face this brutal reality or fade into the nothingness of the future. And this is all exciting stuff for somebody who's savvy to what's actually going to be waiting around the corner. So it goes without saying, my opinion regarding Tron is fundamentally pretty positive, as you could tell by the way that I'm pretty much excited to see where all these things are going in the future. Now, obviously, it doesn't go, you can't ignore the fact that there's going to be trouble brewing in the future. I'm not going to try and sit here and tell you guys it's all going to be sunshine and rainbows from here on out just because Tron has its shit together. The fundamental is we have to deal with a lot of people's shit. I mean, that's just that's the game we're playing with cryptocurrency. It involves regulations on an international scale. It involves all these different things in the marketplace of ideas, but I think that the silver lining is within view. In particular, the type of day cryptocurrency has had today, I think it shows what we can be expecting to see in 2019. But again, it's just my opinion. Obviously these videos are just for entertainment, educational purposes only. Obviously this video is not advice. I'm not your dad, but if you guys are interested in letting us know what your opinion is, of course, you can connect with us on our Twitter. That's at CryptoTuber. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this content. Make sure you guys comment down below, letting us know what you think about where these things are going. What kind of signs are you picking up on? I hope you guys have enjoyed this content. Stay relevant, everybody, and I hope you guys have a good day. Happy holidays and happy New Year, and have a good one.